order that was submitted. Mr. Matt Oker, would you like to come up for 3 minutes? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Judge. How are you this morning?
Good.
Wonderful. Commissioner Jones told me right before the meeting got underway that we're hopeful in the coming weeks that we're going to have an agenda item to discuss what occurred in this recent election that I've been coming down here talking about. So I don't guess there's a whole lot of point in addressing too much of that. I will just say that the one last piece of evidence that I would like to get my hands on, and I'm going to try to do that today, is and maybe the court can do that in a more expeditious manner, is the copy of the transcript from the actual hearing that took place. I understand there wasn't much to it, but maybe if we could get that, that's the only thing left that would be part of the public record for this court to discuss and members of the public possibly. So I think that's a good conversation for us to have, and I applaud the court if they do decide to take that direction, because that's what I've been asking for from day one. Let's ferret this out. Let's figure out what happened, because there's so many different narratives out there. You know, we've got the press. Who knows if the press is accurately reporting what they're being told? I don't know. I'm not privy to this conversation. So I say let's bring all the players into this one room and let's talk about it, and let's figure out what happened and what we can do moving forward. I still think it would be irresponsible until we do have some sort of full audit for this court to not direct the Elections Administration Office to conduct the forthcoming elections by paper ballot. We have some extremely important measures. We have a $250 million bond in HCISD that's going to be on the ballot in about 70 or so days. I think we need to know that those elections are valid. I will say this, though. I did a little, just for my own curiosity, I did a little study last night. I went down just the elections in 2016. If you go down all the way to the precinct level, which I know most elections are not by voting precinct, but we do have some that are, there was something like, and I wish I'd have tallied it up, I think there were around 15 ties. I mean, imagine that. Usually you don't see ties. But if you go all the way down the precinct level between the primaries on the Democrat-Republican side, the runoffs in May, and then the general election, there were 15 ties. And of course, we know there was a tie on an election for a council seat in the city of Cobb. So every single vote is important. I know a lot of people think that they don't matter, but they do. I've actually seen 2 elections in my lifetime that actually ended in a tie that I was actually part of. So anyway, I applaud the court for those efforts. And if I may, the fellow's not here today, but I think it's Mr. Garza that usually sits right here. I'll probably get him fired for saying this, but I want to compliment him. A while back, I think it was during the summer sometime, we had a situation where we were dealing with the county on a property issue related to a sewage facility, whatever they call it. And anyway, he called me or texted me about 7 or 7:30, I think, on a Friday evening. And after we got done with our business, or actually before and after, he apologized for disturbing me. And I said, hey, man, anytime y'all are going to attend to business, you call me anytime, day or night. So I wanted to give him a compliment on that. So thank y'all.
Thank you. This thing just doesn't want to stop. There we go. Okay. Next is Mr. Sam Brannon. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I guess it's 4 weeks in a row I've been down here with Matt, listening to him tell the story on the Anthem election that was overturned by the judge. And I appreciate Mark's comments that item will come up in here in a future commissioner's court. I'd also say that when we get our former elections administrator in here, it might be a good time to get a presentation on what our deficiencies in following Texas state election code are in the administration of these voting machines. We've heard all kinds of stories, and we're in the process of collecting some sworn affidavits. Matt mentioned the tie on the Kyle City Council election. You all, I presume, and if you're not, happy to talk with you about this as well. If you're not, there were people that lived outside the city that were given city ballots when they went in to vote. and they actually informed the election judge, and they were told just to go ahead and vote on those ballots. And that was the one that ended up in a tie. So, I think that we've got a lot to discuss as far as how the elections are held here. I would like to see, I've met with Joyce before numerous times in the past on the same issue, on what the deficiencies were and why we weren't doing them. I'd like her or Jennifer or somebody to come in and explain to the court what those deficiencies are as part of the same conversation, because this is not an unimportant matter. And Matt mentioned the bonds on the ballot in Hayes, CISD. We also have them in San Marcos, CISD. We also have the city of San Marcos that's going to have some bonds up, all this in the near term if the votes go through on the councils and school boards. So we've got a lot to consider, and this is more and more Hayes County is feeling like a banana republic every day. I think there's some steps that we should be taking to make sure that's not the case. Thank you.